Egghead Island arc reminds me of Wano. When I say that, I'm trying to compare Big Mom and Kaido to Yonko, two of the strongest characters when it comes to strongest characters in the story. These Yonko, they were part of Rocks, both were villains in this arc, and to us we're just thinking, how we already satisfied with Kaido. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I was already satisfied with Kaido and the Shogun being a villain, but yeah, of course Oda says no, I'm gonna add in Big Mom as a villain, and man, that's why Wano is my favorite arc of all time. But I have to admit, Egghead Island is catching up real fast, and when it's all said and done, it could surpass Wano, because Egghead Island has the same archetype where it has two monsters in Saturn and Kizaru. But the thing is, I feel more comfortable in this arc because the leap that Luffy took after Wano, how strong he is with Gear 5th. He's used it twice in this arc already. And I think Gear 5th without the limitations is the strongest in One Piece. Then you also have Zoro, Sanji, the wings of the future Pirate King also taking their leaps. Jinbei also is doing his thing too as well. The powers of the Yonko Crew Stride Pirates are being tested in this arc after Wano. Oda didn't slow down. He said, no, I'm going to bring in a Gorosei and Admiral after bringing in two Yonkos. Yeah, that's how you definitely get my attention, Ichiro Oda, and that's why you are the GOAT. But I do want to say this. When it comes to the reveal and the proof of the greatness, when it comes to the title, Saint Saturn, the defense of science, this is a crazy chapter and the implications are insane. You know what's funny? If you guys don't remember, there's a scene actually during the 2-year time skip where Brook is, of course, he's stuck on an island where these guys are pretty much worshiping Brook. They're Satanists. They're worshiping Brook. They think he's from the underworld, the demon, and they have this sign, this like Satan sign, and they're like pretty much praying to Brook. This could be seen as foreshadowing to what we revealed in this actual chapter. If you think about it, guys, there's also Sabo and him saying you Gorosei are very just ugly creatures. The world at top, the people who run the world are very ugly creatures. Was definitely foreshadowing, because man, Saturn is ugly, but he is scary as well. And first of all, I feel like people have to talk about this, yo. He's able to instant kill low-level characters, pretty much low-level pirates. One translation says below Commodore, one translation says below Rear Admiral, one translation just says low-level characters. He pretty much has Conqueror's Haki, but the only difference is it's instant kill, not instant unconscious. And that could be, that you could say it's kind of better than Conqueror's Haki, though Conqueror's Haki has a better, when it comes to the limits you can reach. Conqueror's Haki is limitless, where there's probably a limitation. It probably has to do with his Delphoid ability, which we see in this very moment. An awakened spider, mythical Zoan like creature. Some people saying it's a yokai, some people are saying it's an oni. All I know is the last time he said he was on surface was a while ago, and it's foreshadowing of, I think Saturn is from the Void Century, because he says these kind of things like, oh, I don't remember the last time I was on the surface. And man, how huge this design is, how big Saturn is also nothing to laugh at, yo. He's a huge character. He's pretty much making Frankie look small. Of course, we see that a very iconic moment of Bonnie saving Zoro pre-time skip from the Celestial Dragon, and we always thought this was a very cool moment just because Zoro almost killed the Celestial Dragon, and Celestial Dragons can't be touched, and this shows you how badass Zoro is. But now, after Egghead Island, Bonnie protecting Zoro from doing the damage to Celestial Dragon, because Bonnie actually knows how savage these Celestial Dragons are. And then now, of course, we saw what happened in this chapter. Yes, Saturn, his first ever introduction of his powers, tries to confront Vegapunk, but Bonnie remembers why Kuma, her father's memories are gone, and stabs Saturn with a sword. And now people are saying, well, Saturn is bleeding, Saturn's weak. Some people are saying that. Some people are very knowledgeable and saying, okay, we've seen moments where 9 Red Scabbard stabs Kaido, and he low diffed him still. I think the reaction after Bonnie stabbed him, he looks like he didn't even affect him at all when it comes to his face and how he is, how big he is. I don't think this is a big deal. And come on, guys, Saturn, I think, is literally at least minimum Admiral level, guys. He is a monster, a mythical Zoan too. So don't really take this too seriously, this Bonnie stabbing him. But I thought it was very cool, the pretty much parallels of pre-time skip saving Zoro and then actually going against the top of the top Celestial Dragon in Saturn. I thought it was very cool when Luffy is falling down after the attack on Kizaru. Saturn reacts and says, Nika. Like, you know, I know the memes are gonna be like, yo, Saturn saying that Nika to Luffy and all whatnot, but still, I think that definitely is showing signs that there's history between Saturn and not Luffy, the mythical Zoan Nika. And I think it has to do with Joy Boy. I think Saturn knows Joy Boy. He's a mythical Zoan user himself. And I think all the Gorosei are Mythical Zoan users that are connected to, of course, the pretty much the Mythical Zoan Nika. And I thought it was hype. I can't wait to see these guys battle. And we saw when Saturn came to the island, I've rarely seen something like this, yo. Pretty much an ominous presence where Kizaru, an admiral, Luffy, a Yonko, Zoro, a vice captain to a Yonko, and Lucci, the strongest CP0 member, and even Jinbei comments on this ominous presence. Plus, you see the vice admiral's reaction in shock. Saturn definitely is getting people's attention, and he hasn't even lifted a muscle yet. Now, I thought this was very creepy, yo. This magic demonic circle that Saturn comes out of, yo. It's a badass arrival, I won't lie, but still, these low-level Marines have to be not able to look at Saturn. And Sanji notices something coming out of the circle, so I want to see how this Delver ability gets fleshed out more in the manga and even in the anime, because it's definitely a weird Delver ability. It makes sense, it's a Mythical Zoan. Mythical Zoans are always wonky, guys. Now, before I talk about Kizaru versus Luffy, I have to talk about how there's so many parallels in this chapter. Luffy versus Kaido, when he first battled Gear 5th, he punched the shit out of Kaido's head, and that's the attack that really got Kaido's attention. Like, this guy is really putting it on me right now. Pause. But I feel like now I have to talk about what happened to Kizaru this chapter. Now, did you really think I wasn't going to talk about it? I literally came back to making YouTube videos talking about Kizaru versus Luffy. And in this chapter, Kizaru versus Luffy continues, and Kizaru shoots at Luffy to distract him, of course, but Luffy counters with a attack called White Star Gun. And I'm gonna keep it real with you guys, yo. This attack pretty much slammed Kizaru's head, guys. It slammed his head. It went into his head, and we see that Kizaru comments and says, "This isn't good. This isn't good." Now, that's interesting because when Rob Lucci was getting hit by Gear 5th, he said, "I'm about to lose my conscience." Now, this attack looks like it's Kangasaki Coded 2. Hits Kizaru in his head like Kaido, and he says this isn't good. Of course, Luffy reaches his limit after this, but still, I'm thinking, how much did it affect Kizaru? It looks like it was a very ineffective punch. We'll probably see the after effects at the next chapter, guys. So Gear 5th is really showing how powerful it is. Now, of course, Kizaru is not really focused on fighting Luffy. He wants to complete his mission, so he goes after Vegapunk but misses, and then Luffy goes after him, and Kizaru says, "Didn't you reach your limit yet?" Hinting that Gear 5th might be better than Kizaru, but as a character as a whole, is Luffy's limitations really going to stop him from fighting full health powered admirals and full health powered Yonkos? Now, me personally, I do think Luffy is stronger than Kizaru, but a lot of people are gonna bring this up, yo. Luffy's limitations, it's definitely gonna be a factor to a lot of people when it comes to him fighting in combat. I think we need to see more still, but right now I thought it was a very interesting tidbit. Of course, the chapter pretty much starts off with Kizaru. Well, not really starts off, but we see a moment where Kizaru was like, "I have a mission to complete," and tells Luffy this, and Luffy's like, "I have a job of my own." And I thought it was very cool because Kizaru's running away from Luffy pretty much. He's saying, "I know this battle's gonna take way longer if I stay here." Kizaru knows, I'm fighting a Yonko. It's not gonna be a 2-second battle. And if anything, people are saying, does this make the animals look bad? Does it make the animals look good? I think this makes the animals look how they're supposed to be looked, yo. I always looked at the Yonko and the admirals as the top of the top in the One Piece power scaling. And Luffy is a newly crowned Yonko, so he's definitely showing he is at the top of the top when it comes to battling characters like Kizaru. He's 100 times stronger than he was before, guys. So I definitely want to say now, Egghead Island is ending off with a bang. This arc, we got so much, guys. We even got a Monkey D. Dragon flashback. We got pretty much a situation of Vegapunk and seeing all the different Vegapunks. That was pretty cool. Seeing CP0 Rob Lucci versus Luffy. Seeing, of course, Law versus Blackbeard. Shanks versus Kid. We got Garp versus Aokiji. We just saw cool moments from everybody, honestly. This arc has so many nice and cool moments in this arc. Of course, we're now getting Zoro versus Lucci, Kizaru versus Luffy, and now Saturn, I think, is going to fight Nika. And there's still many more top tiers there. There's vice admirals left and right. There's top tier characters. Like there's so many cool things that are about to happen. And the Blackbeard pirates, guys, are looming. The Blackbeard pirates are looming. And I wonder what's going to end with that. Now, definitely want to tell you guys, Egghead Island is not a Wano type arc. It's going to be a escape arc. It's pretty much a precursor to the arc of Elbaf, which I think is very cool because they hyped up Elbaf in this arc when it comes to Vegapunk, talking about Jaguar D. Saul and Elbaf, and we're seeing Elbaf in the battle between Shanks and Kid. I think this is all just a precursor, but I do want to say this, guys. Chapter 1094 It was a very entertaining chapter, and depending on what happens next chapter, these two chapters are gonna be really good chapters. And that's what One Piece is, yo. You don't just judge a chapter off of what happens in the moment, you judge it off of the volume. It's like a volume series. You want to read volume to volume. Like, I can read a chapter and I'll be like, okay, it wasn't that bad, it was all right. Then I can read it when I'm binging the series, reading 10 chapters at a time, and I'm thinking, wow, these chapters are crazy. The story is not a outcome, it's progression, and One Piece is literally the definition of progression, guys. So that's my thoughts on this great chapter, and tell me your thoughts down in the comment section down below, and turn on notification. I got a video coming out very soon on a very big character. It's gonna drop the next day after I drop this video, guys, and I'm back, yo. Legend Mac is back. I'm telling you guys, I'm not playing around this winter.